Well, it's been some time since I've had technical problems like tonight's, folks. Yeah, I was all set to go live tonight, and like the harbinger of doom was over my head. For some reason, my computer decided it was going to do updates, even though I didn't want updates. And I waited and 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 waited. And here it goes like 35%, 36%. I waited all the way to 100%, and it says, you are at 100%. For about 10 minutes, and I go, okay, I'm done. So I just kept hitting control delete until I broke it, restarted, came back. Guess what? I wanted to do updates again. So I hit control delete again. And I kept doing I probably fried some of the circuitry. I probably hurt the computer like in some horrible like well, I hope I did damage it because I wanted to teach the computer a lesson. But anyway, yeah, so I had a little technical problem again, but yeah, I think the computer knows who's boss now, right, computer? But anyway, sorry for the lateness. Oh, I think the computer is being a smartass. We'll see who's boss. As I say, I'm experiencing really terrible technical difficulties tonight, and I have a terrible. I think I'm coming down with a sinus infection. I'm one of my terrible sinus headaches. I think it's a change of season. But I couldn't go a Sunday without a chat, so I'm gonna try to persevere at least for a little while. Oh, look who's here. Dave is here. Says happy Sunday. Dave, so great to see you. Super Black, so good to see you, my brother. He says good evening and good evening to you too. I'm trying to. I have all this crap on my computer on top of everything else. So yeah, there you go. I think I can actually see things now. Well, that's pretty good. So anyway, it looks like we got what 3 in the chat. Some people probably figured I wasn't going on tonight, but anyway, how's it going, folks? Good to see you all. Just sort of, I have nothing planned tonight. I don't even have any trivia tonight. It was one of those days, as it were. But anyway, I'm here now, and did the comments freeze? Do me a favor, one of you be a dear, and then there we go. Uh, the lips don't match the video. Oh, am I gigging? Oh no. Well, it did freeze up for a second, but hopefully that was as I say that. Snarks is here. She says hi, Thresh. Am I still off? Is it still like moving slowly or like not matching up words to my voice? The good news is for a second I thought the comments had crashed because it wasn't scrolling. It's scrolling now, so but anyway, we're off to one heck of a start, huh, folks? While I got you here, the big news is tomorrow night, of course, is going to be another Retropalooza. It's going to be me with Dave and Pat and Barry, and we should have a righteously fun time. Hopefully, I have all that my little computer glitches out of the way by then. Zublik says, yeah, it's still off. That's strange. Well, hopefully it'll if I go out and come back in, um, I'd have to actually restart a chat. Remember I did that once? I popped back out and we lost half the audience because they were still waiting for the other show to come back in, and it never did. Um, anyway, if it keeps doing it, what I'll probably do is I'll probably just I might call it an early night tonight. Like I said, I have a righteous headache, and maybe I kicked out some update that I actually did need. Yeah, no, don't. Yeah. You're so you're right. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. But anyway, hopefully it'll auto correct. But it's going to be a very low key impromptu chat, and we're just Tracy says you're good, Robert. Well, I don't know about that, but thank you, Miss. That was very kind of you for your sentiment. Um, and that's weird. I was looking at the counter, And for some reason, the counter stopped for a second too. So anyway, well, I'll tell you what. What do you guys want? While we can still chat, what do you guys want to talk about tonight? Anything but computer glitches. I think we've beaten that to death. Um, but I'm certainly game for whatever you guys would like to chat about. Zuplex. I was going through some old stuff, by the way, and I saw you actually asked me some time ago for a wretched recap. I'm going to try to get one of those in the very, very, very close future. Christopher's here. Christopher says, "Good evening, Bob. Good evening to you too, Mr. Christopher." Zublik says, "The war." What war? And Terrell Eugene Bellinger's here. Oh, Teb, so good to see you. By the way, I'm glad you could make it. I understand. Sometimes you've had to come in later than normal, and there've been a couple times we haven't seen you. So it's really, really good to have you back with us, Teb. So good to see you. Happy Sunday, fun day, Thrash. I'm back, back and better than ever. Well, you know what? As long as you're equal to what you were, that was more than I deserve. But better is even gooder still. So good to see you. Christopher says Doctor Who. I could certainly talk about Doctor Who. By the way, and by Christopher, we had a I guess you would call a nerd question earlier. Cybermen or Dialects? No wrong answer. But of course, who would you pick? Cyber as the best villain, Dialects or Cybermen? Um, and of course, as you know, my favorite Doctor Who is Tom Baker. But if anyone feels otherwise, please feel free to let me know. Patrick Troughton was great, and oh, the blonde dude, John Pertwee. Don Pertwee was actually the Doctor when I first started watching. And Tracy says, "I am going to put out my new video tomorrow." Oh, I can't wait! I can't wait. I'll be watching for it. And Christopher says, "Good evening to Tracy." And he says, "I'd like to talk about free market capitalism and its effects on the pre-civil American South." Go ahead. All I know is somehow the sugar tariffs were more of a contributing factor to the outbreak of war than some other factors that most people usually equate to the Civil War. So let's hope tariffs don't cause any current conflicts. Huh, gang? Let's see. Classic video game Dave says Doctor Who was like 1950. Now all Chris Lots Doctor. Oh, from 1950 to now, all Lots Doctor? All Lots. Okay. I believe it. I want to say it started in 1962. I believe that was the first year. There may have been some previous writings, but the TV show started in 1962. And Sean's here. He says, "Evening all, evening to you too." And Dave says, "I mean, there's a lot of Doctor Who's in the show." There are a lot of Doctor Who. Yes, there are. Yes, there are. Although I don't like the new ones. No offense to people who like the new ones. I'm Hartnell to Baker. I kind of tuned out after Peter Davidson. He wasn't the worst Doctor, but he wasn't very good. And let's just see. We're going on there. A lot of people saying hello. Gary Carpenter's here. Says hi there. I just got home. No worry, I was late. My computer was doing updates, so I actually came on late. Sorry, my brother Lisa Fields is here. Hi, Thrash, everyone. Lisa, how are you doing, my friend? It's so good to see you. It is so good to see you. And Tracy says 1963 Doctor Who, Robert. It was 1963. I was going to air the same day, I think, as a John F. Kennedy. No kidding. That I didn't know. But that's actually excellent trivia. Oh, Kevin Scott 76 is here. He says, "Hey Thresh. Hey Kevin. Hey, how's the music scene going?" He's been actually doing some really, really exciting stuff music wise. I've been like trying to keep on top of it on Facebook, but it's been a crazy week or a couple weeks with the new job and everything. But so good to see you, Kevin. And Kevin says, just visited my mom. Oh, that's so nice. Mama Thrash, as you know, lives with us. And he says the first episode of Doctor Who aired the day after the Kennedy was no longer with us. That should be easier to remember, Bob. Well, every time I think of that day, I always think of the Richard Matheson story, which I've told you guys on several occasions. Emily Miller's here says, hey, y'all. So good to see you, my lady. Gary says 56th anniversary of Judy Garland's passing. Oh, bummer. November 23rd, 1963. And yes, why does that date sound so familiar? Christopher says, good evening, Sean and Zuper. Foremost contender this year says, hey, Thrash and chat. And the entertainment headquarters is here says, hello to Thrash Pondo Puns. And Kevin, I am so sorry for the confusion. For some reason, I thought we were doing a 50s and 60s TV chat today. In fact, if you can let me know what the date on that is, I'll try to be around for same. But so glad you could make it, my brother. Hope all is well. Thank you. Teb says, Thrash, what's your favorite Doctor Who story arc from the John Pertwee third Doctor era? Probably the one where he fights the Silurians. The ones where the Silurians rescue the Master from the prison. And that one, although I don't think I've seen that in over 40 years, but I thought the Silurians were really, really, really cool. Lisa Field says, I have good and bad days, Thrash. Thanks for asking. I don't know if all of you folks have heard. I believe if you were with me last week, you heard very, very, very sadly, Lisa lost her eldest son. And we're all pulling for you. We're all pulling for you, my friend. I can't imagine, but anyway, I wish there was something I could say. And anyway, we're sending as much love as we can. Sean says to Emily, oh, wild Emily makes an entrance. Hey. And she says, yes, Indy, that is right. And Entertainment says, I will let you know. Oh, thank you. Oh, so we were talking in embryo. Maybe there wasn't a hard date, which I don't know why I would have thought so. And Dave says, no, didn't Gilligan's Island have been canceled during the JFK? The father was some document or something had to deal with talking about that on that. I don't know. Never heard a Gilligan's Island connection, but there very, very, very well could be. And, well, of course, Thurston also went to Harvard. Kevin says, yeah, my band Luna Koi has an awesome keyboard player now. Yay! And also my Renaissance and Celtic bands are sounding great. And I jumped again. Hold on. A lot of people saying hello to one another. Oh, Emily's sending hugs. A lot of people are. Oh, and are sending positive vibes to Lisa. And Tug is here, says, sorry I'm late. No problem, my brother. We were having some technical difficulties earlier. That's all you really missed. And Christopher says, good evening, Entertainment Headquarters. Condolences from Superplex. A lot of people saying hi to Tug. Gary says sorry as well. Kevin says, I was doing my Karate Kid special tonight. Ah, yes. And I remember thinking I would be little to no help on that one. I'm familiar with the works, but I don't know them in any particular detail. So you understand why I didn't throw my ring into the hat. And Indy says Gilligan's Island didn't start until 64, so I'm not sure of any connection to Kennedy. Maybe the pilot was going to air but was delayed for some reason. A lot of things were preempted because of the 24-hour news coverage, which, as you folks all know, was one of the gimmicks behind Night of the Living Dead. That idea of the non-stop news coverage, which is pretty commonplace today, wasn't in the 1960s and only happened when there were really, really important issues like the Kennedy situation. Tug says, OMG, I'm so sorry, Lisa. Yes. And Entertainment says, I didn't think we set a date. If we did, I never wrote it down. My bad. No, no. What probably happened was I was taking notes. I remember when we were talking, and I probably took the embryonic uh, idea for 50/60 TV show, but wrote the time and date from the Karate Kid. I'm scatterbrained like that. That's why I keep a pad and pen next to the computer while I'm doing things, stuff like this. But again, sometimes wires get crossed. Sometimes I get cross. Gladdy the cross-eyed bear. Um, and let's just see. Tug says, I ain't, oh, I must be an imposter. And Emily says, I think they were referring to the flags at half staff on the first few episodes of Gilligan's Island. Ooh, ooh, Emily, I think you're right. There's a bell ringing in my head. There was a story about how um when they were filming the episode in the harbor, and I want to say in Honolulu, or wherever it was supposed to be, all the flags were at half mast. And I'm going to go on a limb and guess it was because when it was filmed, it was right after the Kennedy situation. I have to say situation because if you say the other word, yeah. But I don't want to minimize by saying things like situation. And then he says, the thought of Bob going in depth on the Karate Kid amuses me. Like I said, I saw the movies, but I don't have a lot of insight on them. And Trina says, Tug, I couldn't get my Yeti mic because it is not compatible with my Mac. So I found one that does, hopefully not too Kraken. Release the Kraken. Keithy is here. Keithy says hello, Thrash and Thrashers. Keithy, hello to you and Hooper. So glad you could make it, my brother. Wajamin is here. Says hello, everyone. Wajamin, so good to see you as well. And Tug says I'm excited to hear it for the first time. Tracy, aren't we all? And Christopher says I am sorry to Lisa. Yes. Well, that was very kind of you, Chris. And Wajmin says to Tracy, he's much better. Thank you for asking. I'm sorry you were feeling poorly, Waj, but I'm glad you were mending. And he says, if you do a Karate Kid chat, don't forget to sweep the leg, sweep the leg, sweep the leg. And number one granddaughter was watching Cobra Kai for a while. I don't know if she still does. It's funny. It has the mega bad guy from the original franchise, who I guess in real life was a really really nice guy. Although you wanted something crazy, the guy who played, and I don't know this firsthand. I just I was watching one of those YouTube interview shows where people who are big stars now were talking about how before they made it, and one of the guys, he had been on SNL for a while, was actually a driver for the studio. And supposedly the guy who was the sensei in the jerk dojo was a real jerk in real life too. I seem to be caught up. Fancy that. Fancy that. Sean says, yeah, Bill Hader got I guess it's picked. Or poked on. Bill Hader got picked on by Martin Cove. Yeah, supposedly the first day he deliberately took him out of the way so he could study his lines. And when Bill Hader got there, he almost got fired. And then he goes, "Let me make it up to you. Stop. I'll buy you a cookie. I'll buy you a milkshake. You want a milkshake? You want a cookie?" And he's like, "That's okay. That's okay. That's okay." And he finally convinces Bill Hader to stop so he could buy him a milkshake and a cookie. And he goes and he gets the milkshake and cookie, and then when he comes out, he's eating the cookie and drinking the milkshake. And when he gets, he's like, "Well, drive." And I'm like, "Wow, wow, wow." At least that's the story as I heard it. But and yes, picked yes, and yes, Martin Cove is indie for the win. As you see, I can't really do a deep dive. I had forgotten his name was Martin Cove. Is he a nautical cove? And let's just see. Keith says, hello, Tracy and everybody. I'm missing LOL. You seem like you're here to me, but I'm not missing you at all. Gary says, Indy, he was the coach on Karate Kid. Ah, yes, yes. And I'm going to skim down. A lot of people are having fellowship. And Kevin says, what's your new job? I'm working in sales for a local waste disposal company. And I only just started. So I'm like still going through like the training packet is like that thick. And I'm working with their training professionals. And I only got in like a half a week's work week. I only got in 3 days last week because I had to wait for all the stuff to come back before they could actually have me in the office. So I'm picking up with my training tomorrow. But thank you for asking. And he says, Gary, where would I be without you, Gary? And Doug says, geek. Doug, the unapologetic geek says, what a colossal Dioc move. Yes, that really was. And Emily says, what's the trivia subject tonight? I don't even have trivia tonight. It's a very casual chat. I'm really here for two reasons. One, because I can't go a Sunday without like seeing you guys, and two, I want to remind everyone that Retropalooza is tomorrow. So I'm hoping to see all of you at Retropalooza. And Sean says Hader also has stories about being a PA on a Schwarzenegger movie too. I did not know that. I do know he does a James Mason impression, which I think rivals mine. It's like the funniest. He tries to buy donuts with an expired gift card. Listen, I'd like to buy these donuts. Yeah. Sorry. How much are the donuts without the gift card? And it's actually incredibly, and he's really expressive when he does it. It's very funny. And Tug says, I was hoping you'd get a job as a repo man. Well, I tell you what I am. I'm a repo man. Zublik says he is into sales for a garbage company. Waste disposal. And let's just see. Emily says, I might copy again after you again. Ah, yes. And Tug says, I already said that one, didn't I? Oh, Lisa says, good luck, Thrash. Thank you very much. It says, does that company happen to be controlled by the No, we are not controlled by the. And Watchman says, good luck on your new chip. Thank you. You see how nice it is to be nice? Thank you, Watchman. Emily says, my only income is trying to earn points on swag bucks. And Kevin says, Thrash, would you like to review the Time Machine, as I want to do that soon? The original Time Machine, try and stop me. It's one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time. Wasn't crazy about the modern reboot. And I understand a lot of people did like it, but I was not I prefer the original one. And there's a made-for-TV one, which isn't particularly good either. They used a lot of like the studio period pieces, so it's mostly just him in like period settings. And I just jumped again. Let's just see. Yay, Retropalooza from Emily. What do you mean? Says what? No trivia? I'll do 2 trivias next week, I promise. And he says to Tug, would you settle for a similarly cast man at work? Ah, yes, very good. And Tracy says, thanks for the reminder, Robert. And what time tomorrow? I'm not 100%. Probably 8-ish. I was waiting to get the text from Dave, but I'm going to guess around 8-ish. And I think if I missed anybody's comments in that last jump or the one before that, please forgive me. Christopher says, my favorite doctor was John Pertwee. Favorite episode, Mind of Evil, and favorite companion, Joe Grint. Yeah, Joe. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had a crush on her. A lot of people said Perry. Couldn't get past the really fake American accent. Don't get me wrong, Perry was hot, but Joe Grant she was a coyote. And Kevin says, I will always to get oh yeah, always get your trivia questions wrong. Gary says Bill Hader is related to Carol Burnett. I did not know that. That's a really good trivia. Forbes Condensed says waste disposal saves lives. Thank you for your service, Thrash 070. Thank you. Thank you. I wish I could take credit for it. Gary says, I love your James Mason. Well, thank you, Gay. I have worked on it hard for many, many years. And Kevin says, away from YouTube land, I work in hospice care. No, YouTube is my release. So YouTube is my release. Excellent, excellent. And Sean said, yes, to me, best wishes you with your training and getting up to speed. Congrats again. Thank you. The money's great to start, but when I start making commissions, the money will be great. Whore. And Emily says, truth to that form. And Tug says, Indy, I hope he wears a hat for the safety dance. You can dance if you want to. You can leave your friends behind. And Tracy says, yes, good luck. Dude, thank you very much. And Wonderman says, LOL, Okies sounds good. Thank you. I'm proud to be an Okie from Muskogee. And Kevin says nothing. He just jumped off the page. Oh, wait, no, wait. Whoa, hold the. Oh, here it is. The reboot was okay, but was not bad, but not great. I fear the same with Omega Man and I Am Legend. Now, Omega Man had its merits, but I got to tell you, I Am Legend, the Will Smith one, I consider that possibly the worst and least accurate adaptation of any science fiction work ever. Oh, I hate that one. And I hated it before I decided Will Smith should be locked up. So it's not even about him per se. And then Wild West, of course, is a close second. And Sean says, the entertainment headquarters, my last girlfriend was a hospice nurse. It takes a special kind of person to do that work. She was uniquely qualified, so kind. My heart goes out to you. It is very, very tough. And again, very commendable of you. And Tug says, somebody mentioned I Am Legend. Yeah. Tug and I has Commander on several occasions. And Sean says, hospice nurse typing is not my thing tonight. It's okay. Reading isn't mine. Remember, Dave used to tease me because I would read everything phonetically. So if something was misspelled, I'd still read it that way. Yeah, I would get pwned. And Rachel is here. Hi, I'm here. Yes, Rachel. So nice to have you, my dear. And Tug said today where we all win with the perfect score of no, you're all 10 for 10 on Bob's channel. You folks are always 10 for 10. Let me say hello to Rachel. Kevin agrees with Sean. Wednesday the 25th. I'm working and I got something. I'm gonna say no. This next week is gonna be kind of crazy. I'm sorry, my brother. So yeah, this week and the weekend. If you can hold out to like Saturday, I should be good. But and Keith says hello. Good to see you. I think I missed you several times earlier in the chat. There seems to be a lot of maybe it was those updates that I deliberately wouldn't let my computer like drag its heels on, but maybe I think some of the chats have been getting skipped. And Keith goes on to say, I would suspect with no trivia, a couple people would still get 10 out of 10, lol. And Tug says that's a major calm. I have to have a think on it. As you wish. Ziplik says the Slapinator. And Christopher says good evening to Keith. And he says, Bob still mad about Sam the dog dying. Um, oh, yes. That actually is a really powerful scene. He did that scene very, very well. Um, and of course, that's one of the few things they actually did lift from I Am Legend. But there's a whole thing with the dog where if he has to get its trust and yada yada yada. And then his daughter just gives him the dog, so there's not as much stakes in it. But to own their each. Tug says Starship Troopers my final answer. Oh, we're still on unfaithful adaptations. Okay, yeah, all right, I'll buy that. Um, my personal favorite thing is in the book. Oh, what is her name? The girl he friend zones, who he has a brief liaison with. In the book, that's a dude, and there's much less sexual tension. Garrett Gabbard says the dog that was on Frasier died. Oh, he was 15. Oh, poor puppy. And Sean says, well, it wasn't me. It was an ex-girlfriend. I did some volunteer EMT work for a few years. That is about as close as I got it. Well, that's commendable as well. But again, to all hospice workers, I can imagine how tough a gig it would be. As Rubik says, Battlefield Earth was worst. As I never read Battlefield Earth, I will have to take your word for it. But people who have read Battlefield Earth have shared your sentiment. Tug says, I guess Bob never divides by zero. Why not? And Gary says it could be as bad as the Green Hornet. I don't know. Was the Green Hornet ever a book? And Tug says it's a major contender, Zuper. It certainly is. And Kevin says, Sunday the 29th, we could do our conversations on 50s and 60s TV shows. That would actually work great. And I'll tell you why. Because Tug's going to be doing Next Generation movies. And while I am lethal on TOS, I'm not particularly good with the Next Generation films. I've seen some. I don't think I've seen all of them. So that would actually probably work out very well. And Rachel says, I am confused about your new job. Why didn't you open a new restaurant? What happened to your staff? Oh, it wasn't my restaurant. I worked there. The restaurant did reopen. I just decided I have a touch of arthritis in my knees, and it's been getting progressively worse. Last season was really tough for me. So, as you know, when the restaurant closes, I see when I said my restaurant closes, I didn't mean the restaurant that I own, the restaurant that I was affiliated with. When it closed for the season, I opted not to go back, and so I've been looking. I was looking vehemently to find something else. And Indy says to Tug, Starship Troopers, did the question involve most disappointing film adaptation of a great book? Yes. Yes, it did. And it isn't a particularly good adaptation. And what is her name? Dizzy. Yes, in the book, Dizzy's a man, and there's very little sexual tension between him and Rico. And Tug says that's exactly it. And Sean says, still deserve that Diz was a hot woman. I wish they had the power armor and skinnies. I know. In fact, there were a couple of sequels, and the sequels didn't use the skinnies either. I'm like, the skinnies were kind of a cool premise, but they never actually used them. And Indy says Carl was Rico's buddy in the book. But Dizzy was present. All we know, Dizzy dies, I want to say, in the first encounter with the skinnies. Dizzy's there, but oh, and another thing, he's Filipino. I don't know why they decided to make him Argentinian in the movie, I mean, Argentine. Argentina is cool, I suppose. Don't cry for me, Argentina. But for crying out loud, why couldn't you just make him Filipino? He's Filipino after I don't know. I don't know. But there you go. Uh, I lost my play. Oh yeah. Let's just see. Tug says I was saved. Oh, Saved by Zero, the fix. Oh, okay. By the way, I gotcha. I gotcha. I'll be certainly. I was trying to think of a funny comeback for Divide by Zero, and I couldn't. I add zero to things all the time, but that did really roll off the tongue. So, but anyway, thank you for explaining the joke, Tug. Like I said, I got this wicked headache tonight, so if I seem distracted, it's because I am. And Tug says, if anybody will understand that joke, it would be Thrash. So maybe I will win, say by zero. I to this day I wish Diet Coke or Coke Zero, I should say, use that as their theme song. Kevin says, just give me a time. I will talk to you on Facebook this week. Probably late afternoon or early after, sometime in afternoon my time. A lot of people having fellowship with each other. I'm humming it now, Andy. Geek says, I underestimate this community as always. Sean says, maybe you will reach the beach. Forms content says something, one thing leads to something, something leads to another. One thing leads to another. What? I had an Elvis Costello song stuck in my head the other day too. It was killing me. And I can't think of what it was now. And let's see. Kevin says, I did not know you owned a restaurant. Yeah, no. It occurs to me, I think some people were confused because I would say my restaurant, as in the restaurant that I worked at. I had been there for 12 years, the restaurant in question. I was just a server bartender. I did not own the restaurant. But like I say, I opted. They only opened about a month ago, and they were kind of going in direction career wise. So, but anyway, I found another job. Kevin says the only book I ever threw in the trash after reading it was "The Sun Also Rises" by Hemingway. I could have sworn I read that. I just can't place it. I saw the movie too, but I can't remember if I liked the book or not. I was obsessed with Hemingway when I was younger. Actually, did I read The Sun Also Rises? Why am I drawing a blank? The one set in World War One. Yeah, okay. And Rachel says movies always feel the need to add a love interest. Well, there actually is one in I Am Legend. And Forms Content says, at least you didn't drop the book in the bath, Kevin. Indeed. And you love people saying hello to one another. Christopher says, did you ever meet the actress who played Joe Grant? Bob? No, I never met her. I had like a couple glossies of her years ago that I got from conventions. And Texas, I dropped Moby Dick in the bath. I went completely crazy trying to get it back out. Really? Did you say from hell's heart I stab at thee when you dropped it? And then he says Buenos Aires is also destroyed in the book. Maybe they changed his origin for Oh, very good. Very good. That actually holds water, much like Moby Dick. And Forrest Contends his funny thing about the fix is I mostly saw their videos on not MTV shows. Like, now I remember Night Tracks. And Sean says Allison, maybe. No, it was Every Day I Write the Book. Every Day I Write the Book. Mrs. Thrash told me she loved that song, and I was going through and I was trying to remember the lyrics. Um, and I couldn't remember chapter one. I don't remember this song. It's We Didn't Really Get Along. It's actually when you listen to the words to Every Day I Write the Book, it's actually kind of sad. The gist of it is it's his first love and she broke his heart. And haven't we all been there? And Tug's like, people say my team all the time, but nobody assumes they own a sports ball franchise. Thank you, Tug. But again, local people do own local restaurants, so I can see the error in the syntax. And Forms condenses talk about a deep dive. Tug, oh, well played, Form. And Tug says, "Oh, that was my Peter Benchley collection form. There was a shark we had off Cape Cod years ago. I wanted to name him Benchley. Her actually, it was a girl. They think she was pregnant. They think that sometimes when great whites are about to have baby great whites, they come into shallows for whatever reason." Gary says, "Geek, you do know that Jaws is 50 years old." Do I? In fact, I was actually, that's what Kevin and I were talking about yesterday, the 50th anniversary, until my computer died. It's been a weekend for Michigots. Form says, "I'm guessing I'm the only one who remembers that Sam dropped Diane's copy of Sun Also Rises in the Bathtub, LOL." I did not know that. I did not. I know he put her sweater in the dryer and it became like a bar rag, and he destroyed one of her stuffed animals. There was this phase where he kept destroying her stuff and getting in trouble for it. And Tugs, I recently learned that Gary simply says, "Which job was better, the video store or the bar?" As a movie buff, I'm always going to go. The video store was my favorite job of all time, but I did love bartending. Indy says, "I've only thrown away one book in my life, The Transmigration of Souls by William Barton." Oh, that sounds like a laugh a minute. And Gary says, "I saw Bruce the Shark at Universal Studios on my first trip to Hollywood." That is so cool. And Sean says, chapter 2. I'm surprised I had to go back and look. "I think I fell in love with you. You said you'd stand by me in the middle of chapter 3, but you were up to your old tricks in chapters 4, 5, and 6. Oh, yeah. Now I'm gonna have that song stuck in my head again." Tuck says, "The only book I've ever thrown away was my college statistics textbook, and I burned it to ashes first." My old actually Tommy's actually been on the chat a few times. He and I would have ceremonial book burnings at the end of the school year. We would burn our notebooks, symbolically saying, "You can make us learn, but you can't make us retain." Um, Short-sighted of me. Hi, Mrs. Thresh. And Gary says, "Most of my comics went up in smoke back in 2005. Oh, heartbreaker, heartbreaker. I had a fire in my house. I'm more sympathetic I could not be." And he says, "Sports ball franchise, somebody, clearly a sports guy." And Sean says, you said you stay by me in the middle of chapter 3, but you're up to yeah, yes, indeed." And Tug says, "That sucks, Gary." Yes, it certainly does. Gary says, "I also lost all my movies and DVDs." Oh, it's getting worse. Oh, and I think I jumped again. Did I jump again? If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. Oh, I know a few sports balls. Simply says, "That's what I thought. I remember you had a house fire." Tracy says, "Tell me about the Michigas." LOL. And Form is content says, Hello to Kenneth, and Gary says, Wedge, thank you. I finally bounced back and I did save a few things. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. And he says, Geek, you burned your stats book. What are the odds? Oh, you burned your stats book. What are the odds? That's priceless. And yeah, everyone thinks that's hysterical. I'm going to steal that, by the way. And Forbes Content says, sorry to hear that, Gary. I've had similar losses. Hate to think about it. Simply says, next to losing a loved one, a house fire has to be the worst tragedy one can experience. A lot of people sing a little Mrs. Thrash. She just left the room, but I'll pass that on. And let's just see what else we get going on here. A lot of people saying hi to Mrs. Thrash. Gary says, yeah, I lost all of my tape players. Ooh, DVD. Oh, audio. Oh. I'm very sorry, man. But you managed to save your audio tapes. That's good. Forbes Content says, I think fewer people are going to collect things going forward because people have to move so much and a collection needs stability. Ain't that the truth? Every time I moved, I lost something. And Sean's sorry to hear that, Gary. And Gary says, but now I've got to throw some of them away because they are old and the sound is gone. Bummer. So even the ones you didn't lose, you lost. Hang on a minute. It's all hot and muggy up here. I'm sweating. Anyway, that's better. Anyway, we're coming up on the hour mark. And like I said, I wasn't planning on doing a long show tonight. And like I say, I got something of a sinus headache. So I think I'm gonna. Oh, Lisa says I have to go see you guys soon. Lisa, your timing is perfect. I think I'm gonna start wrapping things up here. So Lisa, please, please, please take care of yourself. Please take care of yourself, and we'll see you very soon. Kevin says I need to start thinking about selling some stuff. Good luck. Try private folks as opposed to vendors. They'll never give you top dollar. Mrs. T and Mama T. Thank you guys. Very kind of you. And what do you mean? Says same here. Hotter than the Dickens. It got really muggy. I had to put the ACs in our windows yesterday. And Teb says it's about dinner time. Thrash. Bye, Teb. I want to thank you so much for coming by today. It was great to see you. We'll see you next week definitely. And again, guys, please everyone come to Dave's Retropalooza tomorrow, please. And he says, thanks for the trip. Oops, Abbott. Peace out, Bob. I will have trivia next week. But like I said, I had to do some kind of show tonight. So even though I didn't have trivia, but I'm glad you guys made it. Thank you very much. Kevin says, good night, my friends. This was fun as always. Kevin, thanks for joining us, by the way. And guys, thank you for putting up with the technical difficulties. I'm glad you all stood by. Keith says, I got 10 out of 10. Anybody interested? Keith, I've never been prouder of you. And Sean says, Keithy, you're the winner. And Emily says, better than I did, Keith. I missed one. But you're always number one with us, Em. And Gary says, I just finished eating dinner. Gardein veggie chicken nugget with a noli sauce. That sounds yummy. Did the lights just flash? I hope they did, or I'm having a stroke. And let's just see. Forbes Content says, damn, Keith, that's 10 more than I got. Tracy says, Nighters. Night Bubba, so good to see you. And I'll be watching for that video tomorrow. And, Chance is here. Says, hey, every chat. Chance, so great to see you. We're actually wrapping things up. I'm calling it early night. I got something of a sinus headache that I'm going to try to sleep off. But I'm so glad you could make it, my brother. Good to see you as always. And Emily says, it's a poltergeist, Bob. We have considered on the possibility that our house is haunted on several occasions. So you might be onto something there. And what you mean says, I am, and thank you for asking. I'm not sure who asked what, but I'm glad you are. I'm guessing feeling better. This is sinus headache and the war. Yes, and the war, of course. And that order. And Sean says to Pod Bless, are you working on that movie about the Raiders with Nick Cage? I hear that is shooting in Atlanta. Ooh, good luck to you if you are. Good luck to you if you are. Chance. But anyway, guys, take care of yourself. And yes, as you know, I try to gloss over current events, particularly when they are getting scary. I don't want to bum anybody up, but there have been a couple scary things that have happened in the last 24 hours. And good luck, everyone. I'm hoping the situation stabilizes and that everything is good. But I don't want you to think that I am not concerned. I am, and I'm pulling for each and every one of you. And again, I want to thank you guys for coming by tonight. Even these impromptu chats, I have so much fun doing them with you guys. You guys are great. I look forward to this, and I will continue to look forward to this because, like I said, with my new work schedule, this is going to be kicking off my weeks, you might say. But anyway, I want you guys to know that I'll be thinking about you. I care about each and every one of you. I want to thank you all for being here. And anyway, as you all know, I say this every week: be good, be safe, be careful, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys all again very, 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 very soon. Peace.